Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse is earning glowing reviews all around the world. If you want the shortest version of my review, it's absolutely deserving of that. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Finally got around to seeing Across the Spiderverse. I have seen the previous one. If you're not familiar and are interested on my take on previous Spider-Man films, I actually did a whole roundup video just before No Way Home came out, where I watched all of the films, including Into the Spider-Verse, which is the prequel to this one that we're talking about today. And I even did a ranking, which I usually don't do on my channel, and then I updated it after I saw Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, I'll just put a screenshot up here just so that you can see the ranking, or maybe I'll do it over the whole screen so you can see it better. So that you just know what my ranking was going into this film. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was number 3 on that list, because Spider-Man No Way Home has just got very, very special a place for me, you know, just from my own experience. And then came Amazing Spider-Man, because I just generally prefer just the standalone, simple stories, you know, where we don't go too crazy. Just sort of the classical hero tales. I prefer them, I must say. And then came Into the Spider-Verse because it was just such a great film overall, and it just felt so fresh, you know, compared to everything else. So then we've got Across the Spider-Verse. I'll tell you at the end what the updated ranking is, because, you know, like I said, I don't usually do rankings, but seeing as I've started with Spider-Man, I mean, doing it for Spider-Man, I might as well continue doing it. Anyway, so this film came out. It's taken them over 4 years to make this, or even 5. I think, yeah, 2018 Into the Spider-Verse came out. So yeah, over 4 years definitely it took them to make this. It's easy to see why once you get into the film and you watch the whole thing. It is quite an achievement. Like I just said in my intro, it's definitely deserving of all the great reviews it's getting. It is pretty much in every step of the way an improvement over the first one, which is quite crazy because the first one was already really, really good. I like that film so much because I feel it's also great. With Miles Morales, you get to meet a new Spider. For many people, you know, you get to meet him for the first time, and it's really cool to see that they can pull that off as well. So, you know, you can easily like both Peter Parker and Miles Morales as Spider-Man. They both bring different things to the table, which is cool, which is great. And yeah, that was just such a great film. So I was really excited for this. Also, after seeing all the hype on the internet, of course, from people who had seen it before its big release. Really, yeah. But let's get into it, I suppose, before we go into many other details, talking about the plot of the film. Now, the film does require you to have, I mean, it doesn't require you, but it expects that you've seen Into the Spider-Verse, because we actually have the characters returning. Not all of them, but some of them, and it's very specific to know the story of Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, it's a multiverse story, it still is in this as well. I mean, the title tells you that already. But what happened in the first one is, at the end of the film, everyone went back to their own universes. You know, after the problem that they were facing was resolved, they all went into their own universes. And so here we see, well, the whole film is actually focused quite a lot on Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. And we see both of them back in their own universes doing their typical spider stuff, saving people, etc. And at the same time, they're missing each other because they became great friends in the first one. And it's about that. And, well, individual struggles they have in their lives as well, of course. So it's not just about that. We see, you know, Miles Morales, he's thinking about what he's going to do after school, where he's going to go, and having a bit of a difficult time with his parents. You know, the communication between them isn't that great. Also, he hasn't told them that he's Spider-Man, so that, as you can expect, makes complications. Gwen Stacy at the same time has a problem in her universe. Her father is a police captain, and specifically out to hunt her as Spider-Woman because he thinks that she's committed a murder, which she hasn't. And yes, so there's a big struggle going on there. We learn that there are still spider people out there who are able to travel the multiverse. Specifically, it's, if I'm getting it right, it's Spider-Man 2099, so he's from a series where that's set in the future. He is actually voiced by Oscar Isaac, which is really cool. I like him quite a lot. And so he's got these devices and he shares them with other spider people. They go around the multiverse and make sure that that everything stays correct. It's a bit like if you're familiar with the MCU, like in the series Loki, you had the TVA, you know, that make sure the timeline is correct. This is a bit similar, you know, they go around and make sure that the multiverse is how it should be. You know, that certain events do happen that are necessary for some specific purpose. Anyway, so Gwen Stacy, she decides that she's going to leave her own world because it's not working out the way she wants to. She joins them and she comes upon the world that Miles is living in. And so certain things happen. I don't want to spoil it for you exactly what happens and if they have interactions or not, etc. But what happens ultimately, and this is what really kicks off, is Miles tags along with these spider people that travel the multiverse, and yeah, it builds from there, and we experience different worlds and spider people, and that's the main thing of the film. And yeah, I won't tell you exactly what happens plot wise, but that is the basic gist of it. So we're traveling. It's a multiverse story with a lot of spider people in it, and it's really cool. Just building off from that. This film, even better than the first one, it really explores the concept of who is Spider-Man, or you know, any of these spider people. What makes them who they are, and what are they about? What are their morals? What are their characteristics? Do they all share, you know, this sort of same ideals and all these kind of things? Also, I mean, they specifically said the story is about anyone could be, you know, Spider-Man. That's one of the goals that they wanted. That was one of the first ideas they had with Miles Morales back when the character was created. And I remember in my review roundup where I talked about Into the Spiderverse, in certain ways Miles feels more like the archetype of Spider-Man, at times even more than any Peter Parker portrayal I have seen. You know, and it's quite interesting. And this film, to me, it just drives that point home even more. You know, at the end of it, I just thought that, I don't know, Miles Morales, he feels like a more interesting Spider-Man, or the more, if you can say that, the more correct one. You know, I mean, I like them both. I like Peter Parker as well. It's just that by now I just find Miles Morales a bit more of an interesting character. Not that Peter Parker's uninteresting, I just find Miles more interesting. But yeah, so I like that exploration of what is the character about, and that's why I feel it improves even more on the first one. Because it could have easily just been, let's have fun, everyone's swinging around, you know, let's just put in more spider people and just make it bigger and huge villains and all these kind of stuff. But they're still, you know, they're not doing any of that, and instead we're focusing on the character of Spider-Man, you know, himself, and I feel that's really cool. I also like that the story is sort of shared between the two of them, so Miles and Gwen, it's basically both of their stories. I quite like that as well. It just drives, you know, home this point even more. You've got a lot of cameos, as it were. You've got a lot of these spider people in here, and it doesn't feel like they're inserted just for fan stuff, etc. I mean, it generally makes sense, and I suppose if you are a comic fan who knows all of these characters, I mean, you had your mind blown. I recognised a fair few of them as well, but obviously not even close to, I don't know, not even a third of them I actually recognise, because I'm not familiar with all these comics. They've got a lot of characters in here. I won't even tell you who the actual villain of the story is, because you should find all this out for yourself. But yeah, we've got all sorts of characters popping up in here. It doesn't feel like an overload or anything. It doesn't distract from the main story. On the contrary, those few spider characters that are inserted into the story, you know, on a greater level, they're really cool, and really like them. They get fleshed out enough so you get a good feel for them, and they add to the story, and it's really, really fun. Multiverse stories are always fun. You know, you just get to see a lot of alternate versions of what you're familiar with, and that's used really well in this film. Other things that you obviously have to, and I really do mean obviously, have to mention is the animation, because just like Into the Spiderverse, this is one of the most exciting styles of animation I have ever seen, and the quality, it's even better than in the first one. It's really crazy. You know, half the time your brain is trying to work out what it is that you're watching, because there's just so much going on. And I don't mean as in overload. It's just, you notice so many details. You're like, how did they do this? Because there's just so much going on, and you've got different styles as well. So they make use of the multiverse in that sense too, where you just change up the styles, which also adds another layer to the whole thing. The music is amazing. It really goes so well with the film. I don't know, even just half an hour in or so, I just felt the film just has a vibe, with the music and the art style going, and it's just perfect. It works so well. So it's really hard not to enjoy this film, and go along for the ride, because it really feels like an experience more than just you're watching a story. I do have not many criticisms. I do have two small points that I want to mention in the con side of things. One of them being, I did feel at times that the film was not that overly too long, but just maybe a bit too long. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And while I couldn't tell you specifically which sections I feel needed trimming out, I just felt the overall length could have been a bit shorter, just to make it a bit more accessible, a bit more enjoyable. Yeah, maybe more in the start, maybe some of that could have been taken off. While it was important for the characters, some may feel it might have gone on a bit too long, but just a tad too long. I think, maybe shave a good 10 to 15 minutes off if you can. I think you'd have really the perfect film here. The second thing, for me in the cinema, when I watched it, the sound mixing wasn't always there. It was very difficult to understand some of the voices at times. Now, I saw online that I think they've fixed that. Now, apparently, I thought it was a me problem. These things, I'm never sure if it's just me. But no, it seems that there was a general problem, because they changed the sound mix, and there's apparently a new one where that's all okay. So if you get to experience that version, I'm definitely a bit envious. But no, I'll wait till I get the Blu-ray to watch at home again, to just hear all of the dialogue. It's not like it's all the time. It was just certain sections. Found it a bit difficult to understand some of them, especially when there's some accents coming in, and your brain is shifting between them, trying to focus, and there's noise going on, action, etc. That didn't work 100%. Those are the only two points that I have, really. So as you can tell, it's next to nothing, because the rest of the film is just really, really good. Right, now coming back to the start, I did promise you that at the end we'd update our ranking on the Spider-Man films, and I do say it's quite a struggle, because I want to make clear again that I generally favour these classical tales of a hero, and what he does, etc., and how he came to be. And that still is the case, but the way that just the overall quality of the film, and just how great it looks and all these other things, mixed together with his examination of who is Spider-Man, etc., actually makes me put this above Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, because it kind of feels a bit, it's crazy, you've got a film with literally hundreds of Spider-Man people or Spider people in it, and it still feels like, we're examining, we're focused on Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, and them finding still who they're being as a hero. And so yeah, it pulls it off so well. I still need to put it underneath Spider-Man No Way Home though, because that to me was just such a great experience with, knowing all the previous films and really liking them, and so you're watching this happen and being made basically over the course of decades, and just the payoff in the film, watching it for the first time, it's just so massive that it's really difficult for anything to hold up to that. So that's very specific to me. It's just because of all the history with all the different actors playing the role and then coming together in that film, that just, yeah, really difficult to beat. But now I'm putting Across the Spiderverse just underneath that in second place. And it's really such a great film. Definitely watch it, especially if you like animation and want to see something new and cool, definitely check it out. That will be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below on anything that I've said, Spider-Man related. There's so much to talk about with this film. comparing it to others, analysing, what happens in it, especially with the character of Spider-Man, talking about all the different Spider people in it. There's so many things to talk about. Anyway, all of that, if you want to share something, please put it down in the comments below. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care. Bye.